So when you become nobody, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, you're taking all your attention off the knowns and you begin to look towards the unknown. Now you have to be in the present moment to do that. And paying attention is being present. When you begin to get beyond your identity, your body, your environment, and time, and you begin to turn inward to that unified field, that when you begin to experience it, you will feel connected to everyone, to everything, to everybody, to everywhere, to every time. And there will be less separation between you and the person looking across from you. And if there's less separation, it means you're more in wholeness, which means it should happen, your reality should happen in a shorter amount of time. Because separation creates time. 2 points of awareness, 2 points of consciousness. I'm here and you're there. And there's space between us. And of course, I'm here and I want to go there, so then I have to move my body through space and I experience time. But if I'm thinking about writing my book and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I want to finish this chapter, then I'm in one point of consciousness and the other point of consciousness is finishing the chapter. That's a future. So the more you live by the hormones of stress, the more you believe the future's out there that you have to get to. So you have to move your body through space all the time. And it takes a lot of time to do that. And yeah, your dreams may come true, but wow, you had to work really hard for them. But if you're in the unified field and there's less separation in this realm, less duality, less polarity, more oneness, more wholeness, then you would have to agree, if you are in that place, then it should take a shorter amount of time because there's less separation. So then I have worked with a group of people in 15 advanced workshops and many, many progressive workshops for them to get beyond themselves. And I understand what it looks like in the brain, and we can tell when it's about to happen to you now. We know. But we've worked to get to the point for you to become nobody. No one, no thing, no where, and no time. To become pure consciousness. To unfold as an awareness in this infinite, vast space, without a face, without a name, without an identity, without a job, without a profession, without an opinion. Just an awareness that you're aware in this infinite space. And when you begin to linger there, of course, the brain and body begins to change, but you're in the unknown. But now that you're a pure consciousness, and most people, here's the observer within them, the mirror. And they're putting all their attention on everything outside of them, people and things and places and objects, and they're all over here. And then the brain, it takes a moment and it stops and moves into alpha, and it just kind of turns back inward. And then the person goes back out here, and then they start reacting emotionally, and they're more and more in high beta, and so more of their attention is on the outer world, and they can't take their eye off their environment because there's a threat out there, and if you close your eyes, you're vulnerable, so they can't sleep, and you understand the story. And of course, the brain's moving higher and higher into high beta, and here's the observer. So when you become nobody, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, you're taking all your attention off the knowns and you begin to look towards the unknown. Now you have to be in the present moment to do that. And paying attention is being present. And just like when someone is present with you, they're paying attention to you. And you know when they're not present because they're not paying attention to you. You can imagine the observer, what it's waiting for and what it observes and whether it knows you're present with it. And if you're coming to its house, it's waiting for the teenager to come home. And your teenager could have done so many terrible things to you, said the most mean things to you, but you will always open the door for them, will you not? So then, the divine is waiting. And when you sit in the presence of it, you're putting all of your attention on it. But guess what? If you're not aware of something, it doesn't exist. So you're not aware of your right toe right now, but the moment I say become aware of your right toe, the moment you become aware of it, it exists. Yes or no? So then, if you're living by the hormones of stress every single day and all of your attention is on matter and objects and things and people and places, and because that's where the danger is, you got to narrow your focus. And you have no attention on the unified field, then it doesn't exist for you. So then, just like your toe, it doesn't exist, but science has proven that it's there. So then the way you experience it, listen closely, is not with your senses. Because it's a reality beyond the senses. You experience it as a consciousness, as an awareness. So here you are on the nexus, on the bridge going from somebody to nobody to become everybody. But you're not going to become everybody physically. You are going to become the information that binds everybody together. Are you with me still? So the moment you become aware of it and you pay attention to it and you experience it and you feel it moment by moment by moment by moment, then the moment you put your attention on it, it exists, yes or no? And if you experience it then, it should change the circuitry in your brain because that's what experience does. And if you're truly interacting with this unified field and it's carrying information, you should start getting downloads in your brain about your past, present, or future. Now you're having inner experiences that will begin to change your perception of the outer world. Are you with me still? Yes. So then if you keep your attention on the divine, who knows? You may all of a sudden start to see the divine in other people because that's where your attention is. You put your attention on something and it exists, but if you don't know what you're looking for, then you limit your experience, yes or no? Yes. So we know this to be the truth because I run wine tours all over the world now, which is one of my passions. And people come, they always say to me, hey, Dr. Joe, I'm not a wine drinker. I'm just here for the teachings. I'm like, woohoo, you're in the wrong retreat. And then they say, well, I don't really drink wine, and so I don't really know anything about it, and wine gives me a headache. Well, belief, I'll take care of that one too. But let's just say, for the sake of example, the person loves box of wine. And they drink that sugary, fermented, whatever that is, in a box. And now they're coming to Tuscany, and we're gonna drink some really great Sangiovese, and we're gonna drink some Super Tuscans and some Brunellos and Montepulcianos and Barolos, and we're gonna talk about the winemaker. You're gonna understand how it's made. You're gonna look for the cherry flavor and the plum and a little leather and vanilla, and there's a finish for licorice. And would you agree then if you started to understand how the grapes were grown and what climates and the soil, and the more you started learning about it and what flavor it created in the grape and what the grape is, how they put it in steel barrels first, or they put it in big oak barrels and they change it into smaller oak barrels, and then what happens after that? Would you agree then, as you were learning that information, listen closely, you're making new connections in your brain, yes or no?
Yes.
And those new connections that are turning on, you are beginning to step into that experience with the hardware in place, primed for it, yes or no?
Yes.
So then when I say, hey, watch, just before you do anything, come on, let's just, you smell that? You smell that little floral rose? That's because the rose bushes were on that side. Remember, saw the roses? Oh my God. And all of a sudden now, you start swirling, you smell, you start tasting, and then you're paying attention to it. Moment by moment by moment, you're experiencing it, you're feeling it. You're staying present with what you're doing. And now as you're looking for those pattern recognitions between what's stored in your brain and what you're experiencing, you begin to create memories. Yes or no?
Yes.
You're stringing neurons. You're etching them into place. And would you agree then, the next taste, you should have the circuits in place to pay attention to experience it a little bit more?
Yes.
Come on, are you with me? And so then as you start tasting it and you build your experience, you would say, ooh, this one's kind of got an acid finish for me. I don't like that. Okay, well, now you know. So stay away from this type, okay? That's made in this barrel. Oh, okay, yeah, I got that. And then you go back into the experience. And all of a sudden now you start pairing it with different foods. And all of a sudden you start paying attention and experiencing it. As you continue to change your brain through experience, then you would have to agree you have a greater appreciation for wine each time you drink it. Yes or no?
Yes.
So then, the more you know about the unified field, and the more we can demystify it, and the more you can explain it, the more you're installing the neurological hardware you're in your brain in preparation for you to experience it. Just like the wine, yes or no? Yes. So then you would have to break down the religious belief that God is some white guy with a beard and the clouds, really angry at you, that you may have to really begin to say, my goodness, other people are having really amazing experiences. I better start surrendering to this unified field a little bit more. And as you begin to pay attention to it, and you become aware of it, and you understand that it is intelligent love. It is loving intelligence, the best way that I can describe it. It is so intelligent in its love and in its energy. It's not chemical in any way. It's a frequency. And we start talking about dimensions and space-time and time-space, and your understanding, and you begin to start realizing what it means, and you understand it to a greater degree, you will begin to look for it, will you not?
Yes.
And you'll begin to pay attention to it, and notice it, and experience it moment after moment after moment. It's going to continuously upgrade the circuitry in your brain, yes? And if the end product of an experience is an emotion, when you're feeling an elevated emotion, you're sending new information to your cells, which then should make new proteins. And the genes get signaled, the proteins are made, and proteins are responsible for the structure and function in your body. And who knows, you start becoming more holy because you're experiencing greater levels of wholeness. And all of a sudden, you're more patient with your husband. You don't even know why, but you just feel present and patient. But you're becoming more of the divine, yes or no? Yes. And all of a sudden you notice you're more conscious. You're more present. Food tastes different. Go figure. Because you're more aware. You're more present. You're super conscious, super aware. So then who knows? You may become more loving. It's a loving intelligence. You may become more forgiving. I mean, it forgives us into life. Its nature may become your nature. Its mind may become your mind. And you may walk out of here feeling so whole and so happy with yourself you no longer want anything. Because you feel like you already have it. And all of a sudden, the magic starts happening all around you in your life. And you say what everybody else says. I don't know what's going on. I'm in the unknown and I'm loving it. And And the unknown is no longer a scary place now because you've overcome your fear. You've gotten beyond survival. And so then, that unified field we are going to discover. And I watched it consume people. I watch what happens to them. I watch when they connect to it. It's the most humbling, powerful feeling you'll ever have. And it's loving you into life right now. And it expresses itself through us. And the expression of its energy through us is the expression of our mind, our health, our environment, the things we own in our life. And if you're beginning to remove those masks, those beliefs, those facades, those emotional addictions, those habits, those attitudes that block the flow of the divine in you, it's going to begin to consume you. And it's going to begin to move through you and all around you. And all of a sudden, all the things that you thought you wanted, you may no longer want. Because you're less committed into believing something outside of you should make you feel better inside of you. And 15 advanced workshops, I understand that you come with a lot of questions. You come with a lot of problems. I know that you come for a lot of reasons. But I promise you, the more you get beyond yourself, the less they will matter, because they will become less matter. Because your energy now is no longer invested in your past, your energy is invested in your future, and you're trusting that more than anything else.